Rearise presents 10 interesting facts about introvert personality.
Not very many people understand the behaviors of introverts. They might be considered odd, but if you ask any introvert, this might be a good thing. To extroverts, being an introvert seems very odd. How else do we explain deriving pleasure from lack of company for unspecified periods of time? There are many things people would never guess about introverted people. Even an introvert may not know others do the same things until they read about them. So, in this video, we're going to discuss 10 interesting facts about introvert personalities. But before starting the video, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. Number 1. Introverts are more cautious. They take more calculated risks. If you are in a relationship with an introvert and find yourself taking a longer time to hit relationship milestones, don't worry. It's not that they don't love or care about you. According to research done by Ann, Catherine, and Sodermans, it's likely so because introverts have a tendency to really look before they leap. They don't make decisions lightly, especially life-changing ones. They don't make hasty or rushed decisions, meaning that they tend to make better decisions. They turn things over within themselves a million times before moving forward to ensure that they are minimizing risk and maximizing reward. You should maybe even be 10 times happier when an introvert chooses to move forward with you. They're saying, hey, I've thought about this like a bazillion times and you are worth all the risk. Number 2. Introverts need more alone time. Yes, this one is actually true and it is linked to how introverts use the parasympathetic side of their nervous system. Introverts really do need more time alone. You know how everyone has those pleasure centers in their brains? It's like they typically, when you eat chocolate or whatever food it is that you love, and suddenly there's a rush of dopamine in your brain and you feel happy. Extroverts thrive on that dopamine rush. That chemical is what makes them feel good. It is what gives them pleasure. Dopamine stimulates the feeling of pleasure in an extrovert. Introverts also do feel excitement from the release of dopamine, but it is accompanied by feelings of being completely overwhelmed, which takes away from the pleasurable aspect of that chemical. Extroverts tend to thrive on that one. Essentially, for introverts, it is a bit different. They thrive on the pleasure from a different chemical known as acetylcholine. This is a chemical that is released when we look and turn inward. It powers our abilities to think deeply, reflect, and focus intensely. When an introvert does this and the chemical is released in the body, they get pleasure from it. It makes them feel really good as how the release of dopamine feels to an extrovert. Basically, acetylcholine stimulates the feeling of pleasure in introverts. Number 3. Introverts and romantic relationships. Please don't listen when people say introverts attract extroverts or introverts can only be with other introverts and so on. People spend so long wondering if they are an introvert or an extrovert and then spend even more time wondering who they should be with. Truthfully, you should be with whoever it is that you choose to be with. It's that simple. If you're an introvert in a relationship with an extrovert, just know that this person will push you outside your comfort zone to socialize more. You'll find yourself doing more things and even experiencing more conflict, as extroverts don't tend to shy away from conflict. You'll also find yourself having to speak up to get your alone time and space in whatever area of your life you require it. But it will be a very complementary relationship. Yin and yang, you know. If you're an introvert in a relationship with another introvert, you likely have a person who gets how you are without having to be told. But it is also likely that you wouldn't do much and you wouldn't explore many things outside your comfort zone. It can also likely be that too much of that personal independence and space could cause some trouble in maintaining the romantic connection. Number 4. Introverts aren't rude. Introverts can be quiet and reserved, and when you meet them, and it can be difficult to know what they're thinking. This can cause others to perceive them as rude. Before you interpret this initial reserve as rudeness, consider personality and interpersonal styles. It is important to understand that an introvert might simply need to get to know you better before they feel comfortable and are willing to open up. Number 5. Introverts use a different side of their nervous system. Introverts use a parasympathetic side of their nervous system. Extroverts use the sympathetic side. Know how we talked about the 4 types of introversion? The different types? Well, this means that in the areas that you are more introverted in, you will be using the parasympathetic side of your nervous system. This is the side of the nervous system that prefers rest, relaxation, and or contemplation. The sympathetic side is basically just a full throttle, go, go, go kind of area, you know? One side is not better than the other. By the way, it's just how we experience the world. In certain parts of our life, we experience life full throttle. In other parts, we are more subdued. It differs from person to person and shapes our individuality, which is why everyone you come across is just unique and amazing. Number 6. Introverts don't hate people. People who are introverted are not misanthropic. In fact, introverts are typically very interested in people. They simply feel exhausted by lots of talking and socializing, particularly lots of what they perceive to be needless talking. So, what can you do to start up a conversation with an introvert? Try starting an interesting conversation about something the introvert cares about, and you just might find that they can be the most talkative person in the room. Number 7. Introverts don't need to be fixed. Introversion is often treated as something that needs to be overcome. Well, many introverts report that teachers and other adults often forced them into situations where they felt uncomfortable or overwhelmed. Some examples include, such actions are often accompanied with justification. You're too quiet and getting out there will be helping you. But introversion isn't something to get over. Extreme shyness and social anxiety are problems that need to be addressed, particularly if they result in significant distress or impairment in daily life. But it should be dealt with in a compassionate and professional way. Forcing a shy or anxious child into social situations where they feel overwhelmed or uncomfortable is not the most appropriate way to help. Number 8. Quiet doesn't mean shy. People sometimes make the mistake of thinking that just because a person is quiet, it also means the person is shy. It is important to realize that there is a big difference between introversion, shyness, and social anxiety. Introverted people are not necessarily apprehensive about talking to others, although some introverted people certainly do experience shyness or social anxiety. Introverts prefer to think before they speak. They typically don't enjoy a lot of chit-chat or small talk. So the next time you notice someone who is quiet and reserved, don't assume that they're shy or afraid of talking to others. Number 9. They're not angry or depressed. When an introvert feels overwhelmed by too much socializing, they often need a little quiet time and solitude to recharge. Unfortunately, people sometimes misinterpret this desire to be alone as a negative emotion, such as being angry, depressed, sullen, or anxious. If you are an introvert, you might recall being told by parents or other adults to come out of your room and stop sulking, when you were just really trying to have a little quiet time. This can be confusing for extroverts who may not understand why a person needs solitude. Number 10. Introverts are more creative. Introverts need solitude to recharge, but it is also within solitude that they find creativity. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi discovered that teenagers who have had a hard time being alone were less likely to develop their creative skills. Most artists and writers who identify as introverts do their best work when they're by themselves as opposed to working in group settings. Researcher Reed Larson also found that adolescents feel less self-conscious when they're alone. Therefore, it helps individuals feel safe taking more risks that allows their creative juices to flow. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and check out the link below for some interesting things.